more to go. time. He does this every day, man.
Why are you unbanning him?
I don't know, bro. Man.
Go. One more to go.
Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League Season 12, Week 11 Venue Showcase. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's. I am your sole conductor in today's journey into the realm of Onward. For those that maybe are not familiar with the game of Onward, it is a 5 versus 5 military simulator search and destroy style objectives where one team, the Marsoc, attacks and the other team, the Volk, defends the objective. If the attacking team gets within a certain radius of the objective, they can then enter in a 7-digit code that'll get them 2 points. Otherwise, you're trying to eliminate your opposing team to secure your team 1 point. It is a best of 7, and so we play 3 best of 7s for a full VRML series. As you can see beneath me, we have as well also some bans. There is a select map pool available that these teams can choose maps from, and out of that map pool, they also ban maps. So at the end of the day, there is a little bit of strategy behind picking and choosing what maps you're going to be playing into, and trying to sometimes eliminate maps that you're weak on or maps that your opponent is strong on. And so let's take a look at the bans that have come in from both Air 404 and Ember, and kind of give us a bit of a better idea of what these bans are and why they were picked. Abandoned and Downfall are both off the table. Air 404 banning Abandoned and Ember banning Downfall. Abandoned is a map that I believe is new in this map pool. And so recently we have rotated into our last map pool. Throughout the course of the season, the map pool changes in terms of what available maps the teams can pick from. We like to take a variety of custom maps and maps created by the developers, and force teams to choose a certain selection of maps. Of course, these are voted on, and it's all community driven. But we vote on, we cycle out these maps, and it really adds a lot of variety to the regular season. Historically, we'd run 3 months of gameplay on the same exact maps, but now throughout the course of a season, you get a real variety in what you're going to play and what it ends up looking like in terms of strategy. And so Abandon, a big map, Downfall also a long range map, and so a lot of the long range maps in the map pool have been eliminated. It leaves us with a limited map pool to in terms of range to start the series. So I expect a lot of close quarters action. And when you look at both of these teams' play styles, Error 404 and Ember, it's going to be pretty quick pace. That's at least my expectation. It's also going to be very high skill. Both Ember and Error 404 are very high up in the overall ladder. That meaning Error 404 are second in their division. Ember are 5th. Overall in the world, Error 404 is 5th and Ember is 9th. And so these teams are right up in the top 10 worldwide in the VRML. That's coming out of well over 100 teams at this point in the league. I think 130 teams at this point in the league. And so it's certainly an achievement to be able to get up into that top 10. These teams definitely bringing a very high level of skill. We are still waiting, it looks like, on the lobby getting sorted. And I don't know where our first map is going to take us to kick off this action. I am just waiting. I think it's actually going to be Quarantine, if this is correct. It is. Quarantine going to be where we go for map number 1. And again, for maybe those that are new or not aware of what this map means, what the pick is like, Quarantine is a bit of a mix of both close quarters but also long range. It is really a true grab bag of variety. It is also, I believe, has 15 potential objective spawns. the way that a round or series is a best of 7 is played is that each objective gets attacked by each team. So you swap sides after round 1 and attack the objective if you defended it. You defend it if you attacked it. And then the objective changes location. So there can only be a certain number of objectives within a given series, but there is a total of 14 potential spawn points on Quarantine. I think actually more of objectives, and that means that you really don't know what you're going to get when you pick into a map like Quarantine. It really is a competitive equalizer in my eyes in a lot of ways. And when you look at both of these teams, they are very talented and skilled on a map like Quarantine because it's been a map that's been in the game since the inception of the game. Obviously, it's gotten changes over the course of updates, and it's been heavily adjusted several times. But these teams are very comfortable on this map, and I like to look at stats over on the webpage, vrml.com/onward. You can dig into the stats of every team. Error 404, this is their map pick because they are home. They get the map pick. They have a 80% win rate on Quarantine. They've played it 5 times this season and won it 4. When you look at Ember, they have played Quarantine 5 times this season and won it once. They have a 20% win rate. So despite them playing it very often, Ember has not found a lot of success on this map pick. And so if anything, it's really a double whammy for Error 404 as their first map. It's a pick into strengths of Error 404, but also weaknesses of Ember. And so Ember are really going to have to come out focused on this map number 1, or they could have momentum get out of hand fast. Error 404, both of these teams very skilled, and so it's going to be an exciting back and forth. We're now just waiting for the teams to populate the lobbies, and then we should be ready to go into the action. Just giving the go-ahead to the teams right now. I suppose while we wait, a quick shout-out to everyone that is tuning in, whether you are on Twitch, Meta, YouTube, or Horizon venues. We do appreciate you stopping by and catching the action here this fine Saturday evening. Could be morning, could be afternoon, who knows where you're at, but we appreciate you hanging out and catching the action. You may have noticed there was also Echo Arena just earlier this afternoon. We'll have more Echo Arena tomorrow night. We also have more Onward tomorrow afternoon. Excuse me. So we're swapping the time zones, or swapping the time slots there tomorrow with Onward and Echo. Regardless, you're going to want to catch both because both of these, both the showcases should be pretty exciting. I think tomorrow's matchup is another top-tier team, teams that are in the top 10 of the ladder, I believe. Silent Purge and the Newbies. Look at the overall world standings. Silent Purge is 11th, and the Newbies are a little bit. I thought they were higher, but I guess they've gone down. They're somewhere on the overall ladder. We don't got time to scroll through it, but should be an exciting matchup. Obviously, the close matchup as well, as the whole formula of VRML puts you up against teams that are of similar skill level. And so you can really expect, especially as you get deeper into the season, very good matchups where you're just going to get a good competitive battle. And that's the real goal of VRML. We have rankings from bronze all the way up to master. What you're tuning into here today is a master tier team, a top 10 in the overall worldwide ladder. And but there are teams that are filled with players that are brand new to the league. And so even if you are fresh to the game and just want to start to learn but want to play competitively, you can get into the VRML and find teams that are recruiting. It's super easy. I recommend you go over to vrml.com. You can find the Discord. You can find the links to all of the places where you can get recruited. You can find teams that are recruiting. You can create your own team. You can join the reservist pool, where if a team needs to bring in a sub and they don't have one of their own, you can substitute for that team. There's all sorts of really cool community-focused systems in place that really just encourage playing the game within your own skill range. And that goes for all of the leagues within the VRML, whether it's Pavlov, Onward, Snapshot, or Echo Arena. It's all fits to your skill level. That's the whole design of the system. So check it out, but also stick around. The action should unfold here soon enough. Round 1 going to be kicking off any moment, as we do have a full lobby over on Air 404. We have Cobra, Denny 132, VR Nolu, John CZ1, Ami Kosik, and over on Ember we have Mithril Marauder, Switch 201, Rob 888, JLo, and Soju. The standard 5 on both sides there. And I'm going to go ahead again to these teams. I think we are just waiting for Air 404 to prepare themselves and strategize for this first round. And Ember, I believe, both squads still figuring out their strategies, and so we don't want to rush them. But going to be an exciting kickoff here. Quarantine, again, our map pick for the start, and we are going to be kicking things off over into the far north side of the map. If you look at the way that I always reference direction on a map, no matter what map we're on, is if you look at the mini map in the bottom right, or in this case the overhead, the top side of the map is the north, and that's sort of the orientation directionally. So as you can see, we are that dot as the first objective. That is the north side of Quarantine. We're going to be kicking things off here for round number 1. This objective, definitely an interesting one because you can play it several ways on defense. You can choose to push out and take control of the rooftop and really have an aggressive start to your round. You'll be able to take shots down into some spawn points for the Marsoc team, but you can also alternatively stay back in the spawn point area, essentially, and take cover behind the truck, go up onto the 2-story, work inside the buildings. There's a lot of options in terms of how you want to roll out, and oftentimes it's a reaction to what sort of offense is getting thrown at you, where the spawn is coming in from. And Air 404 are going to be kicking it off in the northeast. We watch Switch likely to be one of the first people to run into this spawn point if they continue to push up and get up onto this top floor and look down to that left side. Otherwise, we're going to have to go on board the Air 404 squad. They are not wasting any time on their push up, taking control of the northeast corner, and it does seem like it is a little bit undercovered on the defensive side here from Ember. They're really going to allow Air 404 a lot of control of this map. There's going to be a lot of moving up all the way onto this east side, and if they really do get control all the way up onto the east, if they manage to get even close to Switch, it's a serious threat onto that objective. Not sure what the plan is from Error 404, as we do see a bit of a split. Take a look at the overhead to get an idea of what this approach is looking like. Like a 2-3, and the 3 right out of spawn are still waiting for this south rotation to come through. Cobra and Denny swinging in all the way in on the opposite side of the map. The crossing, definitely a little bit risky this late into the game, as you have a large open street to cross over, and the thought is that you're going to be shot if you do try and cross. Denny has managed to push all the way up to the middle 2-story, though, uncontested. Nobody's spotting this. It is really going to be a full pinch around the objective. Nolu on the far back, still at spawn. Just kind of covering the long angles. A couple of good smokes come out there. I wonder if Nolu is going to try and cross off of these smokes, or if Amikasik and John are going to, because these are great. That's a great double smoke. Gives them full coverage for this cross here. I think it's actually, yeah, just 2. I thought it might have been 3 for a second. It also does give away their position, though. And so if the defense wasn't aware of where at least 1 or 2 of the attackers were, they are now certainly eyes on over here. And it's going to have to be a bit of a split attention here from us. It's Cobra and Denny still working their way up through the south. They'll be running into Soju soon. The trouble is Soju is really focusing on Denny here. Cobra could have potentially swung in, and there's a nice pinch going on here onto Soju. They have to watch both sides. They still don't know that Soju is here, though. Denny does peek, and there is the kill confirmed. Rob looks for the refrag, but doesn't find it. And Denny and Cobra survive a bit longer on their push here. They go on board to Nolu as they get very close to this objective in the northeast. Switch is watching onto this angle, but only if Nolu peeks that corner, and so Nolu decides to take the wall. They can work their way all the way over to a hole and eventually push right out to the objective. Obviously, J-Lo is tucked in covering. They also hear this, and so they've called that out like on the radio.
One, I see that.
Cobra catches the one on the roof, and that's a big pickup. J-Lo flashed in the corner completely. Cosmic tries to push it. Oh no, team killed by Cobra on the push up to J-Lo. J-Lo's gonna actually confirm that. More shots from Cobra, those connect.
One more dead on OBJ.
Danny gets scooped up by Marauder, who's silenced down in this corner. Doesn't seem to be getting called out yet. Cobra hasn't checked down in this angle. It is a 2v3. Marauder, and one more over by the objective side, Rob.
One more on OBJ.
Attempt there through the smoke. Obviously, in first person, you see through that smoke, but that's what Rob was shooting through. Just a blind smoke coverage, and Cobra finds two more up on that rooftop position. A bunch of kills secured there. 4 on that round. Solid performance, and in Error 404 go up 1 point out the gate on their map pick. Solid kickoff to the series, though. A good bit of back and forth. A nice approach by Error 404. Really did well to encircle around that objective. But Ember allowed them to. And I think that's kind of the trouble of the defense. And especially at this level, it's a big risk. You know, to allow a team to encircle around an objective, it usually leads to caps because the team can distract and draw attention from so many different angles. Sometimes a good solid defense can just also shut down a collapse attempt on an objective. And you sometimes see rounds where 5 come out alive off of an attempted push with a minute left. And so while the strategy works, it also can fail, and just barely succeeds there. Only a few left alive on Ember. Actually, I think, yeah, just Cobra and John left alive. So maybe a little too close for comfort, but we'll see. Ember definitely putting up a good fight. Now they get their chance at attacking, and it's on the exact same spawn.
What's the win?
I'm
What's the
coming.
kind of-
I'm making a war of AC. Yeah, we're gonna watch the. Oh, you mean the from the
North roof question.
I don't see any wall.
Quick spawn out the gate, but it's not identified right away. One difference we're seeing in the Error 404 defense is that Amikasic is getting up here and potentially looking over to their left, but it actually seems like they're looking for a potential spawn in that south side. Ember could have spawned south and could be up in that 2-story right now if they had that spawn. So that's what Amikasic is looking for. And they're not going to find anything, obviously, as the spawn was north and fast. It's going to come down to if they check and see Soju on what is going to be a pretty open cross if Soju commits out to that. I don't think Amikasic saw Soju there. I believe Ember are still unseen in their approach. Very fast-paced as well, as Soju's already up onto the 2-story front courtyard. Can potentially put nades up onto that top, position of Amikasic. Again, it is pretty standard defensive setup there. But there's a bunch of different spots you can be up on top of that roof. Soju also has to worry about a lot of other different positions that they're scanning now. Cobra does rotate off. That rotation almost cost Soju their life.
One on in center, like center.
Was that one of y'all?
From east, smoke coming from.
Oh, and I think actually Soju almost got team killed by Marauder there. While Cobra was shooting at them, Soju nearly went down as well. Other side of things, the cross comes through. Smoke's deployed. Nolu just blind firing through them to see if they catch anyone out, but one does manage to cross. John playing an aggressive bit of defense here as they swing that corner. Flashes and utility come out from J-Lo. I think Rob threw a nade over to that corner as well and does deter John for a moment. We'll have to see for how long. At this angle
There's one
that
down by
Amikasic
North
is trying to take, waiting for J-Lo to try and prone cross out from underneath this car. Switch goes down off of those shots. Krossic drops off. We pop over to John, who should be running into J-Lo soon. If they fly in the corners, they're not going to see much. That's a good flash up and over. That does completely blind J-Lo. Denny shuts down an approach coming in from the east there. Excuse me, the west. Soju up next on this push. We do have to split the attention. J-Lo finds John. The prone position pays off. Rob suppressing out, not allowing the rotation over to this side corner. They actually don't have great control around the objective, as both Cobra and Denny are caught up here by Soju. Not really free to rotate off. Soju finds one. There's a quick refrag from Denny. Shuts them down. The duo now trying to push in from the northeast is all Ember has left. But again, I think they're in decent positions to try and push forward. It's all just a matter of catching out a couple of these spots. If they find Nolu and Amikasic, it's going to be a big payoff, but right as the push comes in. Nolu peeks. J-Lo gets suppressed up from the roof, but lands some nice shots and gets rid of that top-down defender. Is able to cross past Nolu. Has a potential line onto the objective. As I say that, Denny is looking to get up into that top 3-story and have a nice line all the way down into this corner. Will make it definitely difficult for J-Lo. Oh, and they just drop off in time to avoid their death.
Seconds. Watch for the push.
The time, though, definitely an element. JLo only has 30 seconds left. Oh, patiently waiting for Nolu, but doesn't catch the shots, and Nolu able to connect. Kills the opposing team, and that's 2 points. Well, 1 point, but 2 total for Error 404. We go to our next objective. As mentioned before, both teams get to defend and attack the objective, and then it changes to a random location. Each objective then has a, well, I think for all quarantine objectives, you have a guaranteed spawn point on defense, where you spawn near the objective and set up on defense. On offense, when you are attacking, you have a variety of spawn points for each objective. And so there is a bit of the unknown for both the attacking team in terms of when they're strategizing right now between these rounds. They don't really know where they're going to spawn in, so you have to have several different strategies in your head prepared. And same way, the defense doesn't know where the opposing team is coming in. You have several different potential spawn points, and so you try and set up to cover as many of those as you can out the gate. But this next objective, it is going to be a bit, well, just like that north one was, a little bit slower paced. And when I say that, I mean that we'll probably go out the full, close to the full 6 minutes in each round. That is the full round time. You know, as you can see above, we had 22 seconds left in this round. So nearly running out of time. And when you run out of time, if you're on defense and you're alive, you win the round. Back into the action we go for round number 3 on map 1. Good kind of defensive setup. Ember rolls out here. Thought Soju might push up a bit more aggressively, but relatively conservative defense. Sticking close to objective. Rob, the only one that's extending out a bit.
I just saw
Some nice
one run on
long-range
the
angles here
plane.
from Switch.
He,
They're up on
ran
the
off plane
3-story.
From impact.
And here, Switch, they're radioing in information to their team. There is no overlay. This is what the player sees when they're in game. No lasers off of the gun for lines of sight. It is a military simulator experience where you, well, it is a game. It certainly does have its focus on realism. For our casting pleasure, however, we like to see the lines of sight, meaning where a gun is pointed for a player with those lasers, but also the outlines, the names, gives a much clearer picture for the audience. But it's always important to remember just what these players are working with, and so any information they see, anything that they spot, it's important that they call it out and accurately describe the location of where they see what they see so that the rest of the team can properly understand and react accordingly off that information. Take a look at the overhead real quick. We get an idea of what the attack is going to be looking like. 2 going into the north, 2 up the middle here, 1 potentially swinging in on the south wall or deep south if they commit to that, or attacking from 2-story. A lot of options there on that far south position. We want to keep our eyes up here on this cross, as they could be running into shots soon enough. So Marauder, I don't think is at least pointing a gun down range here, but very well could be looking over to this corner to try and spot out this duo.
We could just wait here a little bit and see if there's movement.
Noli with a very nice spot here, minimizing their exposure, but look at that Marauder.
May have gotten a person.
Ready and waiting. Spots one underneath the car. A delayed peek there. And yeah, they were checking the angle, but they weren't aiming until that moment. And there's the confirm, no res. Oh no, Cobra! Excuse me, catches Rob. Rob pushing in on the underground. Oh, excuse me, Cobra down there. Confirming, almost even killing Denny in the chaos, but still. The duo alive and well. Ember, I believe, suffering a disconnect, and so they're down to just 3 defenders as J-Lo gets suppressed from that south defensive, south attack there from John. Thought John was up on the 2-story, but they had ended up pushing out, trying to swing in all the way in from the south here. They're going to be challenging Switch on the corner soon. Toss a smoke to try and block vision, and it works. Swish not able to see through the smoke. They do set up for the next corner, though. And
Only 3-story, yeah, 3-story only. Upstairs. Second floor.
a lot of information getting radioed in here to this Air 404 squad as they try and battle away this defense. Cobra knows Mithril's up in the 2-story. Denny battling J-Lo, but also concerned about Switch's position to their right. Oh no, not concerned as Switch is able to free peek up. There's the kill from Cobra. J-Lo peeks up, almost goes down themselves. We're into a 2v3. Switch able to radio in information. I don't know if John will be able to flank J-Lo very easily. As I say that, they almost connect there. J-Lo hits prone, meaning they dive to the ground.
No, he's by your building.
And now Mithril goes down. Cobra catches out the one in the 2-story. It's all up to J-Lo on objective. And they have to be now cautious of a potential cat scenario here. Error 404. If they get close enough to this objective, could punch in the code and have themselves 2 points. And that means map 1, 4-0. Emi Cossack has a nade out, not the tablet. There's the flash. Going for the flash cap as J-Lo is completely blind. The cap comes in! What a beautiful play from Cossack and Cobra as Cobra suppresses over the top. So J-Lo both blind and getting rounds tossed at them above their head. That toss, I'm pretty sure hit it. Oh, that's the, wow, what a play. 4-0, map 1, just like that. We're through with our first map of the day. And that is Onward in a nutshell. That's how a map plays out. We now go to map number 2, and this is Ember's choice. And a reminder that we do have a new map pool rotation here, and so some maps that maybe we've seen played early on in the season and not recently are returning. Cargo is where we're headed for map number 2. This is going to be Ember's map pick, so they will be starting off on attack. Error 404 on defense. Typically the way it works out is when a team picks the map, the opposing team chooses to go to Volk's side. You can choose which side you want to go. Sometimes an opposing team will choose to go Marsoc, but very rarely. Oftentimes, the theory is that by being on defense first, you could kill the opposing team and you could trade rounds all the way down to where you would have 3-3 tied, and you would be on defense for that final round. Teams often consider defense to be have an advantage. And I agree in some scenarios. For certain objectives, I think they lean more towards a defensive advantage versus an offensive advantage. And so, for me at least, it really comes down to where the objective is, not necessarily just the map. And obviously the teams and how they play. And, you know, in this case, Ember starting off on the attack, you know, if they get an objective that is easy to attack on cargo, they could be looking at an opportunity to start this map 2-0 if they can come out the gate and cap the objective. And so it is really going to come down to how Ember changes up their playstyle here, because Quarantine, while it was close, clearly just did not work out for them. Obviously, you hate to see a disconnect impact a round like that, but we have to play through the series. You know, regardless if a player disconnects or not, if there's bugs or whatever, you have to play through those after a certain threshold of time. So there's 15 seconds right when we start the round where teams get to kind of make sure everything's good. And, well, then it's just a matter of,
might be too far.
like right now,
Fucking hit rafters. Alright.
Ember only have 4. They don't seem to be aware of this. They're starting this round down 1. Oh no, what a terrible misstep, but they're playing it out.
One rotated to Dark Alley.
Smoke's
Even
coming
before
in.
there.
Danny utilizing the offensive smokes to push. We're into a bit of a fight here as Mithril and Denny exchange words. In the cargo crate, Denny goes down. Nolu's going to try and take an angle a bit later and wait for Mithril. Rob able to catch Amikase up through the center. Ember into a 4v2 just like that. They don't need all 5 on their map pick. John and Cobra on the opposite side away from objective. A bit of a risky defensive positioning here, especially after they've lost 2. But they do want to make sure they have control here. And oh no, a team kill.
Charlie.
That's things to 3-3. Cobra still holding back. John has Switch suppressed behind the barrels here. They are going to drop off. Take a bit of a later angle. Switch able to get out of that position. Or they're feeling a bit exposed, and the Ember squad as a trio trying to work up to the objective. I don't know what utility options are left. But the push seems to be coming in towards the objective side. Nolu dropping back closer to objective and not playing up that 4 position, which is the smarter thing to do considering they are 1 of 3 defenders left alive. You don't need to get over aggressive. If they go down, especially, this defense gets very weak on objective. Oh, Switch going right back to the barrels. Marauder catches out Nolu. Cobra and John have to worry about the push to the objective side now.
One down. That's 4 down total.
Accurate callouts. John now has to crash to objective. Nobody sees the rotation. Except for Marauder, who does catch it out. JLo also sees the peak. And John now rotating heavily around the objective space, guaranteeing no caps are coming in. Nice. And that rotation ends up costing a life as Ember... unintentionally, but still go in to this with only 4 and take the round. Mithril Marauder with 4 kills at the end of round number 1, and Error 404 take their first L in the series. Ember finally getting at least a point on the board here, and we'll have to see what Ember can do now with their map pick. Maybe a reverse sweep, a reverse 4-0. Certainly with 5 on defense, they'll have a bit of a stronger force. And so we'll have to see, of course, what we get there. But still, Mithril Marauder 4-0 there. Really working that side of the cargo map. Playing several good kills. Try and catch some replays here so we can review those, especially with cargo. Taking a quick look at the chat. I do appreciate, again, everybody stopping by, whether you're on Twitch, Meta, YouTube, or Horizon Venues. Really do appreciate you hanging out here. If you don't know what Horizon Venues is, I recommend you go check it out. Horizon Venues is a really cool platform where you can watch a bunch of content on, but in particular, VRML. We have Echo Arena and Onward games broadcasting there on the weekends now, and so you can watch the games on a giant movie screen size movie theater size screen with your friends. I recommend checking it out. We got you back into it. As right when the round starts, the lead flies. That's what I was looking for. Error 404 certainly deterred from crossing out, although Cobra has made it into this back corner. And I think that's why there are these rounds coming down range here. They're suppressing Cobra, keeping Cobra tucked in. That nade was intended for, I think, to get to Cobra, but couldn't get thrown far enough.
Possibly me.
Soju trying to peek at information. JLo holding the tight corner there. Misses Nolu pushing out, and now can't find Nolu inside. Here comes a nade. Oh, and it is a nade, but it's not cooked. Enough time for Nolu to drop back.
South square, cargo square.
And a lot of poking and prodding for information. Trying to throw nades, force rotations, push up, back out. Anything they can find, and Rob is able to shut down one. Denny gets picked up. Cobra re-peeks the angle and does trade 1 for 1. Does mean error 404 down to just 3. Almost able to make it. Yep, there it is. 3-3. Nolu catching out switch on the side. Kosik almost gets JLo in between the cracks there, but can't quite land those shots. Oh, and I think that flash catches Nolu out. A nicely timed flash. It's going to allow Soju to get down into this tunnel and almost has Nolu there, but thankfully Nolu blindly pushed into the corner. Now Soju really doing a lot of coverage here. Watching their left side, which is getting pushed up by Nolu. That's a good flash out and over. But also rotating up through the middle, switching back towards objective side. Covering a lot of ground and forcing rotations that JLo is able to capitalize off. Soju again swing on a Nolu. Nolu trying to counter with aggression of their own up through the center. And that works out as it catches JLo on the back. Still though, 1-2 left alive for Ember to the 1 of error 404. It's all up to John, who's pushing around through the tunnel. Might actually be able to find a flank onto Soju here. 3 minutes left. Can play it patiently. Gets aggressive on the shots early, and now Soju and Mithril know where this final attacker is.
Tunnel rotating.
Soju minimizing the exposure through the crack. Spots John. John nicely peeks, though, off of that Back rotation and flies to find the kill. A great pickup on to Soju there. Mithril Marauder now, the last defender for Ember here. Can the clutch play come in here from John is the question. Opting for a bit of a fast playstyle, whereas Marauder disciplined and waiting for John to eventually run into their line of sight. The trouble is that John is actually going for a nice rotation here. And if Mithril isn't ready to watch both sides, it could definitely mean an easy kill here. Oh, and Mithril not going to watch for the flank. Expecting John to be pushing in. Oh, is the timing just right, though? Nope. It's all on. It's a lot of what Onward comes down to is the timing. Will Mithril peek that side at the right time? Interesting smoke and flash deployment. That does redirect the attention of Mithril to that side. And now John's going to try and use that distraction near the objective to push back to where they were initially attacking from. I like the play. Trying to redirect Marauder's attention and now really splitting it. 50 seconds left, a lot of time to work with, especially on Cargo, such a small map. Doesn't take long to cover ground. It really is, though, a matter of if Mithril hears these footsteps. As that smoke goes away, the audio is not going to be able to muffle the footsteps here from John. Especially with those shots going off, Mithril going to be very aware of John pushing in from this side. Oh no, and shots come in too early from Mithril. They both swing out, and there's the trade. Mithril finds the kill first. And Ember are on track to a reverse sweep on map number 2 as they take their defensive round. Mimicking success that Error 404 found on Quarantine, Ember now just has to secure a cap on our next objective, which is an objective that is arguably very capable. The Diamond of Death, as I like to call it, but certainly a wild objective. If you're Error 404, at this point, you have to be ready for an assault. You know what the objective is. You know its vulnerabilities. In that, a heavy smoke application is pretty easy to amass within the cargo crates here. If that happens, it's then a lot of different kind of corners, especially the green cargo crate corner where you can cap around. And so you have to cover a lot of different angles. Oftentimes, players have perfected the smoke to block this gap here between the crates and deny vision back on towards the objective. It is really can be a chaotic objective. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen this objective not be played fast, whether it's on offense or defense. Defense can also play this map, this objective pretty aggressively. And that you kind of have to, you know, any objective. Actually, let me think about that. Yeah, all objectives on this side are farther back than the objective that is here. So this is one of the closest objectives to the middle of the map. And because it's closest to the middle of the map, you have teams meeting at it at the same time often enough. Obviously, it is closer to the defensive side than the offense, but still, I think that's why, in a lot of cases, this objective also just gets a lot of action very early. We'll have to see what Ember throw at Error 404 as they look at an opportunity to reverse sweep.
Alright, boys, let's get it.
Error 404 on defense.
Let's go.
Trying to put one on the board here on Cargo. No success just yet. Interesting cross here, a dangerous one as well, as there's oftentimes shots. Oh, and look at this, a heavy application of Seems to me flashes and grenades. Very few smokes coming in towards the objective side, as there is one or two thrown out.
One just ran into the green. I hit him. Didn't kill.
One center 4.
Oh, Rob tries to push up through the doorway. They go down. Denny on the corner, able to reload and catch J-Lo just in time. Meanwhile, Badger getting counter-aggressive switch, able to find one, but there's the re-kill from Denny. Denny gonna try and push out and get the heal, but they can't. That cost them their life. 2 dead on that side, but only 1 left alive here with Soju as they try and clutch this one. The reverse sweep seemingly denied here unless Soju can 1v3. A lot of patience coming in here.
Smoke out of center. Smoke out of center.
Oh, that res actually comes through there. Nolu hears the footsteps inside. Oh, and there is the rotation out. Nolu has the line. Cobra had the cross. Error 404. Shut down the attack and put one on the board here. No reverse sweep for map number 2, but still a 2-1 lead for Ember. The trouble, of course, now Ember have to go and defend this objective, and Error 404 get an opportunity to attack. If they manage to successfully cap, it's 3-1, just like, or 3-2, just like that. The lead back into Error 404's hands, and that's kind of the beauty of a game like Onward, and that the score can swap sides, swap hands so quickly, especially obviously off of a cap, and so I imagine we'll get some aggression here on the assault here from Error 404. I just wonder if Ember are going to try and counter it. I think the play just didn't really work for Ember on the attack. I think they were kind of dependent on their initial barrage of grenades and flashes to maybe catch 1 or 2 and down 1 or 2. You know, that would open up a lot of opportunities to catch people on rotations for reses. The smokes become a lot more impactful, but nothing connected on their rollout there, and everyone was alive and ready to defend. Now we'll see what Error 404's attack looks like as we go into round number 4 of map 2. Nolu looking to bite some toes. We are seeing aggression from Ember. Oh, that nade almost catches Zombie and Cobra. Throw here on the tight corner, ready. Oh, and Badger able to catch out Marauder on the corner there.
Понял, все, тут чисто. Все, просто ждем.
Nice angle found there on the J-Lo. Only 2 left for Ember now as the rock gets picked up on the corner. The duo on the edge absolutely demolishing this defense. What's the utility? How much do they have left? Are they even thinking about a cap right now? It's a 5v1. Thankfully, Switch is literally on the objective, so even though they're blind, they are going to be dumping rounds out. And, uh-oh, is that gonna be a... Yeah, it is. Oh, no!
We got 2? No.
I wonder how you play that. Oh, whoa. That's crazy. Okay, I'll explain to those confused by the score point line right now because 2 points were given to Error 404. What happened is, I think it was J-Lo was the last one alive in the center, or Soju, and they got flashed. And so we saw blind fire getting kind of shot at the green. And I think they were double flashed, because they were flashed for a good bit there, where they then pulled the pin on the grenade and tried to just kind of throw it, I think, down the, obviously farther away from their position. But where they threw it ends up bouncing off of the door and landing much closer to them than anticipated. Now, if you're the last person alive on defense and you kill yourself, you give the enemy team 2 points. This is to deter teams from, in a 1v5 scenario, killing themselves and only giving the enemy team 1 point for killing the opposing team. It's a very rare scenario that you run into. And from my perspective, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can, gentleman's agreement, sportsmanship agreement, say, look, we're just going to take a point off. I can...
Man. Cobra, pay fucking attention, man.
It can be adjusted.
Ladies first. Ha, idiot.
Otherwise, you can... play through. Sorry, I was waiting to see what the what was happening with that round start. I'm also looking to see if I'm getting any messages to adjust the score or not. But I think if you play through, it's perfectly acceptable. I mean, an incredibly unfortunate circumstance, but the flash grenade got you 2 points, I guess. You know what I mean? It blinded an opponent who then grenaded themselves because they were blind. It's not really a mistake, you know. It's I mean, obviously a mistake, but an error forced by utility in panic. And so, I think you play through, and Error 404 have a 3-2 lead on Cargo off of a suicide on that last round. I think that's perfectly acceptable. It's perfectly. It happened in. I mean, you know, I'm curious to see what the thoughts are from the community. I'm sure it'll be discussed, but what a wild outcome that was. As we now go back into the action. Oh no, and I think Ember have started another round with only 4 in the lobby. It's a tough map for them right now on their map choice. I would also say lessons learned for the Ember squad is they have to just look that there's 5 alive when they load in. Crazy. Smokes are out though. Badger goes down in the center. A trade on the edge, the defense weakens. Capping this objective is a true challenge. You have to get behind the red crate to punch in the code, but Ember is nicely set up on the attack. As I say that, Nolu swings wide to find Rob. Soju able to push up a little bit in the chaos, and they are looking to get close to the objective here as they find the kill on to John. Denny sees the cross, and they are on objective. Do they have the time to cap? Tablets out. Oh, they could have capped. Utility coming in. Soju completely blind on the corner, and there's the knife.
Nice.
From Denny.
Wait, did you stab him with? Was he flash?
Error 404.
Oh, dude, that was just.
Lock in the series. Oh my gosh. Chaos, plain and simple, is what this series has been. You know, both in that Ember loading into two 4v5s, but also that whole suicide 2-pointer to a knife kill to, I mean, what the heck? Or did we just watch with these two maps? It's crazy stuff. Hard to even analyze in some respects for some of this stuff. You know, obviously it's fun to look at the how the team kill happens and all of this, you know, difference. But wow, I've never seen a lead lost like that. That's how I've never seen a lead lost like that. But there it goes, and map 2 now locked in. That's the series. We play map 3 out. So for those wondering what we're waiting for, map 3 is getting chosen now by Error 404, and it's where we will go and play out our final map of the series. Obviously, you may be wondering why we play the third map out, and that is because the amount of rounds won matters at the end of the day. The matchmaking system calculates how many rounds a team has won in a series, or how many rounds they have lost in a series. And so in this case, the current score line is 8-2, Error 404 to Ember. Ember want to try and close that gap, because although they're guaranteed to go down in rank, if they can close the gap in rounds 1, they will lessen how much they go down in rank. Conversely, Error 404 really want to win this map, because if they can, they have a very solid W coming out with 2 big map wins, 4-0 and 4-2. And so kind of an important third map to get played out here by the likes of both Ember and Error 404. Both teams cannot really slack, even though the series has been secured by the Error 404 squad. One thing we also sometimes do see is in situations like this where a win has been locked in and you're up 8-2. So even if you lose a map horribly, you're still getting an okay W. You can bring in a substitute. A lot of teams run more than 5 players on the team, so you can have up to 8 players on your rostered team. And I think we are seeing a sub come in here on Error 404's side, unless I've really missed it. Lape coming in here onto Error 404. Can't remember who they are subbing out for. But wow, that is encouraging to see. And I like to see the subs come in for teams like this. You really do have to practice your full roster so that in the moment where one of your core 5 is not available for a match or they have technical issues, you can bring in somebody that is comfortable with your team and somebody that you can trust to do their job. You know, in a lot of cases, if you'd have 4 people from a team and one that's a reservist, for example, that one reservist can cost rounds in that one reservist can be out of sync with the rest of the team. And when you're defending in particular, one person out of sync can mean 2 points going to the enemy team. We'll have to see if the sub works in a benefit for Error 404 here, or if it does throw off their momentum. But regardless, we're going into round map number 3, and we'll have to see what Ember throw out on the attack.
надо панчить, просто смотри уголочек.
Беги к углу.
Ember set up early in the playground for their assault. The first objective right out in front of the tank. Such
-193.
thin lines getting picked up here by the Error 404 squad. One thing I've noticed. They're really good at spotting out any movement in the cracks. And, oh, there's the sub coming out with the first kill of the round.
At least 2, I think, in playground.
Push coming in from both sides. Denny able to find one. Able to connect with Badger up through the playground. Cobra trying to hunt here, but the sandbag's impenetrable. Solid cover for Lampe to utilize here. John able to get rid of another from Error 404. We're into a 3v3. Solid on-objective defense set up around the space. Lampy getting a little bit aggressive there. Able to catch out Cobra, but overextended, and John was able to peek to get that refrag. 3 left alive now in the playground to approach the objective side. And the trouble is they don't really have any eyes on the front of the objective. Technically, a player could crouch walk up from the front carport right up to the front of the tank and punch in the code. Soju doesn't have eyes on this route. And there's just a big blind spot right through the middle. As they're watching their edges, Mithril and watching one side, Soju the other. Of course, Ember not privy to this bird's eye view. So, curious to see how they ultimately decide to approach the objective space. Smokes are coming in. And a little bit of a deterrent there from Marauder as they throw a flash over the top, but nobody was there yet. Oh, and there's a nice swing over on the edge from Cobra to catch out Soju. Ember could easily pick up 2 here as Soju has to rotate up and is still only watching the objective from one side. They realize this weakness. They are able to check, but Cobra is there looking for the kill. That is going to be Ember locking in the round. Up 1-0 they go. Good start to a map that they really need to lock in. If they get 4-0 here, scoreline gets a lot closer, 8-6. That's a lot less impactful of a W. While we're waiting for our next round, a quick shout out to the sponsors of the VRML. For those that don't know, the VR Master League has several fantastic sponsors that contribute to a $7,000 in cash and hardware prize pool that goes to our top 3 teams at the end of Season 12 in our postseason tournament. Those sponsors are VR Cover, providing fantastic covers to any VR headset, greatly enhancing the comfort. VRML, obviously, contributing to the prize pool to help grow and encourage the VR esports scene. Pro2VR, a longtime sponsor, providing great mounts that help stabilize your aim in-game. They also have fantastic haptic feedback versions. I recommend checking those out. Asterion with great mounts and other products for your VR gaming pleasure. I recommend you check that out. And obviously HyperX with the HyperX Quadcast. That's that you're hearing my deep and baritone voice on, but also the cloud, the HyperX Cloud 2s. I just get it down to the baritone to really get the HyperX Quadcast that's going and demonstrate its power for the next round.
No, я просто пробегу.
Well, let's begin.
Они ловят.
Round number 2.
Наоборот.
Да я вообще нихуя не боюсь.
I can't go any deeper than this. Oh, a nice kill from Badger through the carport right away, starting things off for Ember. 5v4, excuse me. John on the edge here, getting aggressive, looking for kills. Denny up in the center. Nothing really coming, though, from Error 404. They are not trying to roll out too quick here at the start of round 2. And as I say, that switch pushes all the way up to middle house. Denny now getting ready for potential entry through the doorway. Headshots apiece.
Someone in center house.
Oh no, Switch actually alive and able to be res. Soju is going to be able to get up here and scoop this up. 4v3. Defense around objective looking a little bit weak for Ember. John does have a potential line to the front of the tank, but again, really right up through the center seems to be the weak point on this defense. Badger can't see the carport unless they come over to this side and are tall. I think Badger is tall enough to look through that crack. Right now they're looking through a small gap here, trying to ID Soju. Mithril finds Cobra on the edge. John trades with Switch on the corner. It is resable, but very unlikely that Badger is going to be able to get there, albeit it is a 2v3. So maybe Nolu could swing for a res as I say that. There's the confirm, so no res is available for Ember as they find themselves now down 1. And again, lacking coverage up through the center. The trouble is you just never think to slow walk down the driveway.
I got lane 4-3.
Certainly an option, but still goes unutilized. And Badger almost gets scooped up by Soju there.
Smoke.
No line, can't watch Badger's flank. Badger rotating out and now effectively covering the front. A much better position to be in. That's a great flash. Badger completely blind. Not going to see the rotation from Marauder on the edge. Error 404 put up a solid Marsoc themselves and grab their attacking round. Tie it up 1-1 right away. Do not want this one to get out of hand. Like I said, Error 404 also looking to get big points on this map. They want to really capitalize on this win. They want to push up into the top 8 and get comfortable. Right now they're kind of lingering at 6, and that's not exactly a comfortable position to be in, especially as we get later into the season. You have limited opportunities to go up and down the ladder, this much in particular, and so Error 404 is still very much gunning for map number 3 and all the rounds they can find as well. it's the beauty of the system, and especially as we get deep into the season, these final weeks, the back half of Season 12 really starts to matter, and it's fun to watch these top squads duke it out. We obviously do watch a large variety of matchups. If you do tune in to twitch.tv/onward_VRML 2 and 3. There's 3 total channels you can follow on, well, 4 if you follow twitch.tv/VR Master League as well. But I also want to encourage folks to go over to the Facebook page, the meta page for VRML, and follow that as well. We want to try and continue to grow that space as much as we do our YouTube or any other platform. So I do want to encourage folks that if they have the capability to please go check us out on Facebook. We do the venues broadcasts on Facebook as well, so if that's your preferred streaming platform, you can head over there. Either way, no matter where you are, I do appreciate you stopping by, and be sure to follow all of the VRML platforms for all of the VRML action. Back into it we go. Speaking of, for round number 3.
Oh my god, why did they add that fence like that?
Soju gets up into a very early defensive position, one that is oftentimes pre-naded. Oh, that's a good nade. Bounce! Great roll off the top of the roof. Goes all the way over to Nolu.
Grenade came out from lane 2. I'm down.
Quick res, though, and everyone's back up and at him. Soju definitely going to be the first line of defense here for Error 404.
I'm gonna come over and throw my smoke.
Nice pickup there from Soju. Oh, I think I have the names wrong. I do. Sorry, folks. I'll swap them. Thank you for the message. We'll do it after the round. It's just been chaos, okay? A lot of action up the center there. Cobra able to find Soju.
Gray car, one guy.
Yeah, there's still someone there.
One behind.
Flash up and over, Marauder. Not able to see much yet. Flash over the top. That's going to catch Rob, and Rob just starts to dump rounds downrange. Kind of gives away their position a bit in the corner. Also shots over the top towards Lampy don't quite fully connect. Denny able to get rid of Mithril on the objective switch. Pushing in from lane 2, able to connect with 1. Shots over the top through the edges. Onto John and so many lines. Connecting there. Rob getting aggressive. Catches Nolu trapped, and what a great oversight there as Error 404 takes the round. Yeah, let's fix it here, folks. You're absolutely right on the eggs. Apologies. Anywho, now we have the proper names on the proper sides. 2-1. Error 404. It's all sorted now. Just adds to the chaos of the series, okay? Just adds to what has been quite a hectic back and forth here. Quarantine going 4-0 to Error 404. Cargo 4-2. off of a very unfortunate mishap team kill. Mishap suicide, not even team kill, suicide. Really just a wild finale there to map 2, and now map 3 very fast paced as both these teams really starting to throw everything they got at each other. You may have noticed we swapped objectives last round, and so we are now over into the northwest side of the map. Very different style of approach on this objective. You don't have that 2-story house in the center to sort of aid with any sort of verticality on your defense. Forced into sometimes a bit more aggressive rollouts than you would normally put up if you were in the south, but here we go. Back into the action for round number 4 as map 3 kicks off and Error 404 go on to defend. Try and put up 3 points here. Rob nearly going down there. Zombie can't quite connect. Oh, there's the trade though.
Delta.
4-4, and what is the approach versus what is the defense? Denny having an off-meta spot. Pushed forward here. Going to be able to catch people that may otherwise get comfortable in that middle lane 2 area of the map. Switch does cross, though, and as that happens, Denny doesn't see Switch. Oh, but Switch popping up to confirm what they were looking at. They costed their life. Their head goes away, and Denny turns it to a 4-3 advantage. Oh, I'm also... Nice kill there. Soju able to find another.
One lane 2.
Denny's still able to radio in information, though, and so is able to call out rotation here from Lampy. They're behind cover. Well, they were. Confirm could come in there from Lampy if they take the shots. There it is. Denny now no longer able to radio in information. What does the approach look like for the duo of Ember? The 3 of Error 404 very spread out. John super far away from objective, which is a risk, but still they also have great line down all the way to the objective side. They can catch across if they land their shots. You just kind of pose the risk of being far away enough that you'll miss. Also, as with that G36C, might even be a little bit more of a challenge. Don't necessarily have a drum mag to dump rounds down to, so... Oh, wow. We saw the arc from the distance. It flies over and catches Cobra around objective. But really in a perfect position to call out potential attacks as John shuts down one trying to push in, and now Mithril is the last attacker for Ember alive here as Error 404 trying to put up a lead 3-1. I don't know what the... You know, actually, this approach is better. To go away from objective, you're not going to get picked up there by Cobra, but now Cobra got res, so what was just information being relayed turns into another person alive, and a little bit more coverage down onto that approach. There was a moment there while that rotation was happening, though, where Mithril really could have done some damage. They could have potentially found John, been into a 1v1 for a brief moment. Would have required a much different pace, obviously, but still. Different ways to approach. A minute left on the clock. You're going to have to push up here, and John should be able to hear these footsteps pop up once they hear them really out in the open. Like they are now. And there's the kill. Mithril tries to connect with the head, but can't quite do it. An error 404. Go up 3-1 on map number 3. Looking like a potential very big win for error 404 here today. If you do look at the votes, for those that maybe don't know, if you go to VRML.com, you can vote on who you think will be, if you have an account as well, you can vote on who you think will be the winner and loser of the series today. For this matchup, the votes are 45-4 in favor of error 404. So clearly the community pretty spot on their predictions for this matchup this afternoon, and you know, sometimes I would say it's kind of like a 50, I guess 65% chance if you're good at it. But like a 50-50 chance that community can be completely wrong on some of these picks as well. You know, sometimes they just tend to swing one team or another. The mob mentality maybe, where you just trust what everyone else is picking. But still, a lot of votes of confidence there to error 404. From the community, and well, they clearly deserve it here. Taking a look at the ranks too, I think error 404 is the higher ranked team. Yeah, they are, I think, 6th overall worldwide, and Ember is 9th. So this loss really going to impact Ember right now, and at this point, regardless if they even manage to get some points on the board, it's gonna sting. They're gonna be. They're gonna need to win a couple of maps.
Probably they won't be super aggressive.
To be able to bounce back and be a contender at the end of the regular season. The back half of season 12 for Ember is going to maybe be a little bit stressful. Whereas Arrow 404, well, I wouldn't say they can get comfortable. They certainly are gonna have to compete against some better teams off of a win like this, but still, they are now nicely in that top 8 position. We go back into the action for round number 5. See what happens to the error 404 attack. Middle objective as we do swap OBJs again.
Minor? Fuck. Whoever went prone. Prone, I'm fucking crouching. I'm just trying not to be fucking with my head up.
Ooh, Danny getting shot at by Switch there.
We're all alive. I believe 1 kill.
Take a look at the overhead, give us an idea of what this attack is looking like, because it is going to be a matter of this team surrounding. As I say that, a kill comes in. Cobra able to get one, a nice angle from the playground, from that slide. Able to find some shots all the way down into the house. Thing is, though, that Soju is right here, in between the offense at this stage. Waiting for this offense to push up past their line, but they haven't yet. Some blind fire through the shrubs there. Soju still waiting in between this defense. Now finally someone pushes up into their line and they catch one. Soju now giving away their position, deploys some utility up over the top to try and get aggressive. And they are able to swing and catch Cobra. Zombie was able to duck back in time. But Soju playing this one conservatively very nicely flies up. Now another flash. I don't think that connected with Zombie, unfortunately, and so that's going to be their life. Makes it a 3-3. Two in playground, one here. Trying to push up onto Switch's side. That flash not doing much. The Switch has the cover of the cement there. Oh, and now Switch going to try and throw counter aggression out towards John, but John actually behind the sandbag. Switch thought they might be in front. John going to counter. Swing to the other side. A nice pickup there. Ember now down to 2. Not necessarily safe out on the playground anymore. Ambi rotates inside. That bottom floor, Rob still holding from the top. But Ember...
We're here to sue you for fun. Can we enter?
A bit of banter from Badger. Oh, and a nice swing there from Lamp, using those comms to their advantage. They knew where Badger was. They flew that corner to connect with one. It's all up to Rob in the second story, waiting for the push-up. Hasn't in... How are they going to attack this? Denny's certain to check this side of the stairs. Whether they go up it or hit it from that slice. Denny is going to look here. Oh, there's the kill from Rob. Catches actually Denny looking for a different angle. And John, nowhere near objective with 50 seconds left. Rob, all they have to do is just stay tucked in. And they can take this. John is going to have to push the objective building. I don't know if they have any utility left. John certainly doesn't know where Rob shot from. They're going to push up, and they time it just right as Rob preps the nade to throw. The push to the stairs from John nets a final point, a nail in the coffin for a big win for Error 404. The final scoreline 12-3. And again, a couple of unfortunate circumstances for Ember net them this result, but nothing that could have been potentially avoided. 2 rounds with 4v5, a suicide slash 2-point giveaway that if the nade hadn't been thrown, obviously wouldn't have killed them. You wouldn't have killed themselves, but still, just a crazy couple of rounds here today, and happy to bring it to the VRML squad and the Venues folk that enjoy catching these games in the Horizon Venues app on your Quest or Quest 2. Go check it out if you haven't already. We got more games tomorrow. Tune in 12 p.m. PST for more Onward, but also 6 p.m. PST for more Echo, as we will have another double feature on venues. You're not going to want to miss that. But that will be it for me here this afternoon. Again, appreciate everybody stopping by and catching the action. Until tomorrow, stay classy.